bring on the second round. Oilers dispose of the Kings for a second consecutive season, and they will now take on the Vegas Golden Knights in round number 2. Pretty thrilling game tonight. Dramatics, depth players, Yamo out of nowhere, series winner. Jason Strudwick standing by. We'll get to him in just a moment. But of course, short shifts as always here on the live stream, brought to you by our good friends at Mid-City Construction Management. They're a locally owned family company that specializes in civil construction projects, and they've done so for 4 decades. It's a long time. Roadways, excavation, underground utilities, paving, and concrete. They played a huge role in the infrastructure of our city and surrounding area since all the way back in 1980. They're also hiring. So if you check them out on Indeed or go to mid-city.ca and click on careers, you can see all that they have to offer. As we say, a fine evening to the fellas. Zuby. Oh, in the nice golf shirt. You and I, Zuby. You and I are classing it up tonight on
Bringing
the,
it up a notch,
on the
yeah.
pod. Yeah. Struds, how are you, my man?
I'm good. Just thrilled it didn't go into overtime. Thrilled. I can't tell you how happy
a little
I was.
tired. Did you have a late night last night or something? You were at a charity gig last night, so I feel like you're running on fumes.
Alzheimer's hockey tournament, and I'm running on fumes here. And I was just when that goal went in, I was like, oh my God, do not let this go to overtime.
Yeah, no, they managed to get her done. Zuby, we are streaming tonight, so you're looking for comments, right? So as the arbiter of the comments, the ones that are going to make it onto the podcast, what are you looking for from people? Because in our takeaway segment, you are going to be the gatekeeper.
Well, I would like to say I'm looking for shout outs for me, which is extremely rare, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not going to play any favorites. I'm looking for something maybe a little off the beaten path, because the fourth goal, there's going to be some things you guys are going to talk about. And of course, our astute fans, very often they're already asking the stuff that you guys get to. So I'm always trying to dig a little deeper.
Very good. Very
so
good.
Dig deep, folks. Dig deep.
Dig deep. We want your questions, comments, thoughts. Maybe use a few less expletives than you have with me over the last couple of days, though. If you can maybe manage that, keep the swear words a little bit to more of a minimum than they were a couple of days ago. Okay, so in our takeaway segment, we're going to get to your comments here on the live stream via YouTube and via Twitter as well. But time to get to the breakdown. That's going to be brought to you by Horse Racing Alberta. They're excited because live thoroughbred racing returns to Century Mile Racetrack Saturday, May 6th. Stand trackside, feel the thunder with some of the finest thoroughbred racing in Western Canada. Make sure you're in attendance opening day. Live racing. You can also watch and wager on the Kentucky Derby. Head to the races at Century Mile Racetrack and Casino opening day, Saturday, May 6th. For more information to stay up to date, head to thehorses.com. Okay, Struds, where do you want to start in this? I feel like maybe we should start with those fourth line wingers. Hey,
it's huge. I mean, that is, to me, the story of the night is Klim Kostin and Yamamoto. We know that Klim has had an impact on this team since arriving here in a trade, and I'm not gonna lie, I had pretty low expectations of what he could be, and he carved himself out a role within the team, but more importantly amongst his teammates. I think is a guy who stood up for his teammates, has a good shot, goes to the hard areas, and has a scoring touch. And then you got Yamamoto, the what did they call him after the game? The little engine that could, smaller guy, has a cap number that, has maybe made him the new Jesse Puljujärvi. And he hadn't got a lot done. He started as, I think second role position or second right wing position. He's worked his way down. And then tonight, those two guys, I think they combined for, I want to say 4 or 5 points. But most importantly, 3 goals between the two of them. And this is what playoff teams that go have success. This is what it is. You need guys out of nowhere. And I think it's not unfair to say it's nowhere for those two guys to contribute like they did in, not a must win, but a really important game to seal it, clean out a series. And those two guys are the story for me. They are the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story for this game. Because they're the 10th and 11th forwards then.
Yeah. By the way, just got to pause everything because we just got a shout out here on the pod stream from James Sobolski.
Oh, geez, C-ball.
Holy snap. Hey?
Royalty.
Absolute royalty in the Vancouver market. Seaball, thank you for hopping onto our live stream. We miss you. We love you, buddy. Okay, let's start with the Yamamoto discussion. So he starts the series on the second line, as you pointed out. And the head coach, I believe it might have even been after a win, adjusts the lineup and bounces him down. He finds himself kind of floating around a third line, excuse me, and then gets bumped down even further down onto the fourth line. Now, I know Jay Woodcroft does not want to label his lines 1 through 4, but they were the fourth line. Kostin and Yamamoto were the fourth set of wingers heading into this game. Interesting, Struds. You can explain what stretch means at practice. Because here's what I can tell you. The last couple of days at practice, since his demotion, when the team stretches in a big circle, it's been Kyler Yamamoto that gets shoved out into the middle to lead stretch. And the guys are laughing and joking and haha and all this. It happened again the other day, happened again this morning. Yamo's been out there leading stretch. Struds, we hear about how much they love this teammate. They love this guy. People want to play with him. He ends up scoring the goal tonight. So just your thoughts on what that stretch thing means, because it's been happening the last few days, and how a player like that, when teammates see him drop down through the lineup, and then for him to do what he did tonight, what that big picture means.
I love that story. I didn't know that was going on. You know, when a player is moved down the lineup or out of the lineup, you know, most guys tend to kind of get quiet. And they may kind of take a back seat, whether it's, you know, in line getting on the bus or you know, in line to get food or whatever the case may be. You kind of just shrink a little bit. It's normal, right? You're being demoted. Call it what it is. You're being demoted. So when the group, they can kind of sense it, but they know that you can be important to this team or they're going to need you. They force you out into the limelight so you feel good about yourself. And guys, you know, they're giving you a hard time and they're bugging you, but not like saying you're brutal, just more like, you know, just funny little thing, inside jokes, right? And it just kind of keeps your energy and keeps him realize you're part of the group. They're saying you are part of us. We need you. You know, you're going to be at some point, you're going to be needed in this game or series or playoff run. So I love that they did that and it paid off. You could see the reaction. I mean, both after he scores a goal, then after the team wins the game, and everyone is picking up Yamo, you know, just hugging him, kissing him, all this stuff. Like it was there's like game-winning goals, you know, celebrations. Then what I saw today was well past what I think would kind of be a normal one. Yeah. Because it was as I started out, such an unlikely source of a goal. And even for him to be on the ice at that time, you know, what was there, 3 minutes, 3:03 left to go? Yeah. Unlikely.
Yeah. Now we'll move over to Kostin. But did you think the same thing I thought with like 2 minutes and change left? All of a sudden, Kostin was back out on the ice. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa, okay, he's pushing it now. Like, he's pushing it now. I get it. He's had a good game. But I kind of questioned that decision by Jay Woodcroft because I thought, oh, okay, like I get it, but man, you know, and it totally paid off. He read that those players were still highly usable and engaged and threw them out with the series on the line.
I feel like if he's dressing you, he trusts you. Because another one I'll say in that group would be Vinny Desharnais and Kulak out. I want to say with like 4 minutes left, 3.5 minutes. Or maybe even after. Sorry, you know what? It was after. It was after the goal. They were out there. And I said after the second period, I'd cut down to 5D. And that's, they obviously went down to 6 quickly. And then I would have cut out and I would have gone down to 5. Now, I believe it was after the goal that Vinny and Kulak were out there. Again, I was a bit surprised, you know. Then they went to, I think, Nurse and Cece, and I probably would have gone Nurse Ekholm. Yeah. So if you are on this team, if you're dressed, he trusts you, and he's going to put you out there. And man, that fills you with a lot of confidence.
So let's talk about Klim Kostin. Already has a goal earlier on in this series. In Game 4, Klim Kostin played 3 minutes and 38 seconds. And all of a sudden, over a 2-game stretch, Jay Woodcroft just maybe realized he was underplaying him and needed to get him out there. And it just paid off big time here. So this guy who has first round pedigree, he does. He's got first round pedigree, first round skill. He's got the size and the speed and this physicality. We felt like he was tailor-made for the playoffs. And here they are in this series. In the 6 games, he's got 3 goals and a couple tonight, Struds, that are, I mean, the one was a rebound, but he buried that thing. He buried both of them. Goal scorers' goals.
You know, there was a nice goal or two in there. The first one is really nice, but you still got to go to the net, right? And he's going to the net. He has an attitude to get there. And I look at the minutes played by Cost, and I saw, the way they kind of were comparing from game to game, and I get it. But I think in the playoffs, every game is unique. What's the situation? Are you chasing the game? Are you ahead in the game? Is this player going? Is someone else going who takes his minutes? Like, I don't think it's quite the same as a regular season as where I believe you try to have as many players, at least forwards, close to 10 minutes as possible, or 8 to 10 minutes. You don't want to have 3 guys at 3 minutes. And we've seen this. We've seen that in the regular season, not so much from Jay, but from previous coaches. So, I give more credit to Klim Kostin to be ready. He was ready. And now he doesn't know. He doesn't know if he's going to get more ice time tonight. But, he had jumped, looked like he was going, gets the goal early. And all of a sudden, Jay's like, we got someone buzzing. We got to get this guy out of here. And then all of a sudden, that kind of energizes Yamamoto because now he's getting out there more as well. So all that kind of combines, but it's about being ready. And I think Klim, he seems to be understanding that, he doesn't know when his number is going to be called, but when it is, he seems to be ready to somehow, whether it's physical wise or scoring goals. 3 goals in a series. I mean, that is, and the trade they made for this guy, it might be Ken Holland's sneakiest pickup since his time arrived here in Edmonton.
Yep, maybe in a foot race with Bukestad for that title. Sneakiest move of the night. And I think BXA picked it up and it was in his intermission in some of the highlights they did. But how about Derek Ryan with that cheeky little stick grab on the way through the crisscross on the 2-on-2 there? Mm-hmm. A tiny little play like that bought a third of a second that made the difference.
I don't think that Oilers fans understand how smart of a player Derek Ryan is. Let's just look at him. Physically, he's not like Klim Kostin. He's pretty fast. There's no doubt about it. I think his shot is underrated. I think he's got an underrated shot. But it's his brain. He's cerebral. He knows the game. He's been around a long time. And this guy's a survivor. He didn't play his first NHL game till he was a graybeard, which is pretty crazy, and now he appreciates every moment. But he's had to survive on his, not that he's not skilled. I don't want to give that sense, but he's not skilled like
wits and cunning.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like I'm putting down his skills, but part of his package is the way that he plays and understanding there are ways to cheat and find, cut corners to help your game be more impactful. And he does it every single night. And he's quite consistent with delivering it. So, yeah, I mean, that's a small play, but if you watch his game closely, especially live, it is a refined game he has where he does cheat, but I love it. I absolutely love it.
Zuby, let's cue up Stuart Skinner as we head to the Weiss Johnson sound box. 45 years got in the business, so should you need a new furnace, garage heater, air conditioner, hot water tank, or if you have one of those items and you need it serviced, Weiss Johnson is definitely the place to go. Dennis and the crew at Weiss Johnson, huge Oiler fans. They're loving this playoff drive. They can't wait for the second round. 5803 Roper Road is their showroom. Or give them a call at 780-463-3096. Cue the jingle. Little slow, Zuby. Little slow on the jingle there. Here's Stuart Skinner post-game.
I was having flashbacks to Game 4 against. Honestly, in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs here, and my first time around, I feel like I've kind of gone through quite a bit here. Losing overtime, being pulled in the first period, being able to win a game, being able to win a series, breaking a stick and letting an easy goal go in. That's all part of life, and that's all part of the experience and the learning lessons that I get to learn, and I'm very grateful for those lessons.
He talks about being grateful for the lessons. I think about the first game that he lost in the series when he was like, I'm just grateful that I had the opportunity to experience this loss so I can grow as a person. So I wonder how grateful he is that he had the experience of puking up that tying goal late in the game. I mean, what a freak, fluke, awful thing. But he did a nice job bouncing back.
Yeah. And so a lot of things happened this series. I think they're very positive for the Oilers. It was a hard series. I think people underestimate how good LA was. They're a very good team. And, not
Oiler fan feared them.
Yeah. And I think you look ahead. I mean, this team is going to be a thorn on whoever's side in Pacific Division. They're really good. But they also had players for the first time in significant roles. And I'm looking at a guy like Skinner. He's never been through it before. Hey, buddy, you're starting goalie. We thought you might back up this guy, but you're a starting goalie. And he had some really strong play. Then some moments that all goalies go through, right? I mean, look down in Florida. They've changed goalies. Like there's, the Devils have changed goalies. You look at in Toronto, that guy's had his problems. It's Samsonov. So this is part of it. But he seems to be very open to these experiences, going through them, digesting them, and then growing as a goalie and as a person from them. So you didn't want this to be 4-0 for the Oilers. You want everyone to be tested. Darnay getting tested, Klim Kostin getting tested. I mean, Draisaitl and Connor and a lot of those guys have been through it. Even Bouchard, first time in kind of the role he's in, getting tested, right? Like you wanted all that. But I think Stu Skinner, of everyone on the team, I'm guessing would have grown the most professionally and personally through this first round.
Yeah, learned some tough lessons, right? Made some mistakes, learned some lessons. Desharnais made some mistakes. And you think about skating out of his own end, not moving the puck fast enough.
Right.
And the price of that. Well, he's learned from those lessons and he's better moving forward. Same thing with Stuart Skinner. Evan Bouchard, Struds, finishes the series with 10 points in 5 games. Are you kidding me? 24-01 he plays tonight. That seeing eye pass that he feathered through to McDavid as McDavid burst through those two guys, pivoted, and sat there. Bouchard put that puck on McDavid's stick so deftly that I don't think McDavid even knew it was there for a split second. It was kind of one of those ones where it was just suddenly on his stick. What a series from Evan Bouchard.
Well, what a change. I mean, let's just look back 4 or 5 months. People are wondering, okay, well, what's going to happen with this guy? Like, how's he going to turn it around? He's not at the level he was last year in the playoffs, on and on they went. And then they put he and Ekholm together. And quite honestly, it's like the Oilers traded for 2 new defensemen. I mean, this has been an incredible pairing.
It's a good way to put it.
What these two guys have done. I've been saying for probably a year and a half that Bouchard's the best passing defenseman the Oilers have. And he might not have the volume. Other players maybe make more volume passes or more passes. But his quality of passing and the way he puts it on player sticks and the timing, he's so good. And when you try to make passes like that, some are going to go wrong. That's just the way it is. But keep passing them, keep putting them in there, right? And so, huge. I think after Skinner, I think I mentioned him earlier, but I think Bouchard would have had the most growth as a player as well. Hey, I can do this. Like that was a hard series. You think about some of the guys they're trying to defend against. Kempe and Fiala are 2 of the top most dangerous players in the league, I think, with the puck on their stick. They're very, very dangerous, right? Then you're dealing with smart centers you're going against in Danault and Kopitar. Then some hard workers like Iafallo and Moore. There were really very few easy shifts for this guy and his partner. But he's able to contribute offensively, be solid defensively. His partner's there beside him. So a lot of growth for him, but a very important part of this team. And again, and people don't hear about this drafting, developing. Just keep on developing these guys, right? Because you're building your own stars to plug holes and to be studs.
Connor McDavid played almost half this game, 26 minutes, 27 seconds, 26:32 for Leon Draisaitl, but 22:47 at even strength. And Struds, I still don't think he looks quite right. That leg is still bothering him. He's not kind of exploding through the holes the way he normally does. He doesn't have that crazy acceleration, and he hasn't, frankly, since game number 3. But I think it's something that's I don't think it's an injury. I just think it's something that's bothering him, that's affecting his power, but he's playing through it. And to be out on the ice late in the game the way he was, the way Draisaitl was, and for your top players to be making type of defensive plays they were making in the most crucial moments. That was impressive late.
Well, you need your guys. Who are my guys when we're protecting the lead? And Nurse and Ekholm, easy. Open the gate. Dave Mattson doesn't have to say anything. They know who's going out.
Yeah.
I think that, they had Bukestad out there with Leon and Connor. And then I think when the puck went up the ice, if I remember, Bukestad traded and changed, and came out. And so this is their guy. Those are their guys. And when it's difficult because you're an offensive player, but now you are tasked with blocking shots, diving, as we saw Draisaitl get out there. Like, that's the job. When we don't want those guys blocking shots on the penalty kill. I get it, but when you're protecting a 1-goal lead in a closeout game, you're blocking the shots. That's just the job. That
and
so
you
need to. You need to. And I'm not saying this to be funny or anything, but that's just the way it is. That's your job. Everyone's the same when that, or created equal when that happens, but they got it done. And really, LA didn't really have a chance really to set up. And quite honestly, they almost scored an empty net, if not for the tip of the stick of Korpisalo. So those are the guys. And now we know the guys, and we've kind of known them, for a while. But I like it, and I like that, that you're seeing growth and continued growth from these guys. Connor, he played a ton. I didn't notice him that much. He had some moments, but I think it was one of those games where it was kind of a little bit all over the place. It wasn't the cleanest game.
I'd put his speed and power at about 80% right now, 85%. I think he's diminished still, Struds.
Yeah, I mean, he scored a goal and a great pass to Draisaitl, so gets 2 points, I guess. I mean, but LA did a good job, I think, kind of limiting his space in the offensive zone and making it hard for him to get around. But it was the same for everybody. But that's the playoffs as well, right? It's more board time and stuff. But listen, they got it done. Draisaitl or McDavid now has a few days to rest. They all do, and then they start gearing up. But I just want to make this point clear: is that this was a perfect first round matchup for the Oilers. It wasn't an easy one. They had to work for it. Every game was a battle, to get that victory. There was growth from guys. I think Jay grew as a coach. He's getting a better sense of what his group can be when they're in tight spots.
Yeah. One more time to the Weiss Johnson soundbox, the captain, Connor McDavid, talking after the game. This kind of reminded him of some adversity that they found last year in the second round against the Flames.
I was having flashbacks to Game 4 against Calgary last year. It's good that we've been in that situation before, where a weird one kind of goes in, where you feel like you're doing a lot of good things, and it kind of feels funny, that the game's tied. You didn't really do anything wrong, but tough break. Credit to Skin to shut the door down after. We weren't exactly solid in front of him coming down the stretch, but he just gave us a chance to win, and obviously the little guy steps up over here. So it's credit to both those guys.
Did he just say the little guy steps up over here?
Yeah.
Is that what they're calling Yamamoto? The little feller?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love it. They obviously love that guy. But yeah, it was similar to that. And, just specifically to the thing with Skinner, it was funny when it happened. I'm like, that seemed weird. It was just a weird random play. And then I think it was Kevin Woodley who picked it up and explained it. And that made total sense. So you're on that bench, you're like, guys, the stick broke. It wasn't him. Okay, perfect. Let's just go back and get it back. Like, whatever. Let's get our buddy out of this jam. Like, it wasn't, it was different than some others, we've seen in the past with different teams and stuff like that. But that to me was just like, whatever. Let's just get back at it.
All right, that was the breakdown brought to you by Horse Racing Alberta. In our takeaways segment tonight, we're going to dive into the Twitter mentions and the YouTube comments as well. So, Zuby, bring yourself into our little fist here. Where are you, buddy? There you are. You've been monitoring, so get a couple ready to go. A reminder, we are, streaming here on Twitter and on YouTube. Really want to welcome a brand new sponsor to the podcast. They've been in one pod already, Struds. I wasn't hosting and you were. And that is Pro-Am Sports. So thrilled to have this group on board. It's an iconic name here in town. I'm sure you've all heard the ads over all the years on all the different radio stations. They're a huge presence in town, and Oiler fans know them and love them. If you've ever been to their shop, Oh man, it's spectacular in there. An Oiler fan's absolute dream. When you walk in, the walls are adorned with anything and everything that you can think of. They are your fan cave specialists, whether it's your office, your basement bedroom, wherever you let your fandom scream out. Pro-Am Sports is the place to go for incredible sports memorabilia in Edmonton, St. Albert Trail, 1 block north of the Yellowhead, or go to proamsports.ca. And welcome to Got Your Back. Thrilled to have them on board as sponsors. Zuby, let's hear what the people are saying and feeling, my friend. What do you got?
Okay, well, we got this first one from Tom on Twitter, and he asked, how worried should we be about the PK going forward? A few goals given up, and obviously Vegas, a strength of their team for sure.
Struts?
Oh yeah, it's been something that's been on my radar for a long time now. It has improved since Christmas, but Kings had and Connor McDavid actually made mention in his post game when he's asked what are the changes they saw from year to year from LA, and he mentioned the power play, and it's a good power play. Fiala, I think he's so good with the puck on a stick, in so many different ways. So I think they do have to kind of solve that, shutting down lanes. But like Kings go 2 for 3 tonight, right? And the Oilers went, I think, 1 for 2 on their power play, plus they're shorthanded. So that's a pretty tough night on the specialty teams. But yeah, now luckily the world kind of gets quite small because now you're focusing on Vegas's power play, right? So we start again. What do we need to do? Who are we concentrating on? Vegas has got some talented players, but I think LA is pretty good power play. It's surprisingly good.
The other thing, too, out of LA today was that Matthias Janmark skated with the team, and there was some thought he might have been able to get back into the lineup tonight. But obviously he didn't play. But if he does get healthy and does come back in, I don't know who you take out at this point. I mean, I guess you could just go back to the 12-6 formation if you want. What did Broberg end up playing in this game? I'm just going to grab it here quick. Yeah, 3.5 minutes. So really, if Janmark's ready to go, then he potentially could come back in. Broberg comes out, and Janmark immediately helps your penalty kill as well. During the regular season was one of their most often used penalty killers. I saw a good comment on the stream here. Someone saying, why is Struddy wearing Kings colors? It's kind of true, Struds. You are dressed up in some black and silver there, buds.
Yeah. Just comfortable Saturday night attire.
Yeah.
I can get you one. It's a Strudwick D-Man cap sweater.
Oh, is that what that is? Is that one of the ones from your D camp?
Yeah, it's what I wear. That's what I wear around. I'm lounging around.
Does Shona pick the swag for the D camp, or is that you?
No,
you pick your own.
She's too busy.
Yeah,
she's too busy. I just look at a catalog and this looks good.
This looks comfy. Zuby, what else you got, buddy?
Okay, a couple people had asked really specifically too, who comes out for Janmark if he's coming back in. So let's talk about Kolobrecht asks, and a popular topic of conversation. Do you think Nuge is going to get rocking here soon? Maybe he needs a goal to boost his confidence. What did you guys see from him tonight, and what's the forecast?
Yeah, good question. Listen, offensively, he had so much confidence this year, hasn't translated into the postseason. The one thing I'll say about Nuge tonight, Struds, and the Kings did a good job of this, Nuge is generally so sure-handed on the power play over on the left side. He's usually the second touch when they cross the line. I thought the Kings did a great job of even plugging him up a couple times there on the wall, that touch where he normally can make that quick decision. He ended up getting pinned, and that power play ended up stalling, and that's what happened right before Skinner ended up giving the goal up. So I would say he's going to need to check in here. He's been okay, but hasn't been anywhere near as efficient and effective as what he was during the regular season. What have you seen?
Yeah, 4 assists. That's it for Nuge. I was looking at it, and he's a guy that's been on my radar to score, right? Now, luckily, they're getting support from the Costins and Hymans and obviously Kane and Yamamoto tonight. I think that it's not the same when you put Draisaitl and McDavid together. It changes things quite a bit. And not to make excuses for a 100-point getter, but I think it does change things, quite a bit for him. So I wonder what they do, and I don't want to get too far ahead. I know we'll do a
keep them together.
Do you keep them together? Or do you split them up, right? And then what does that look like? when you have them split up, and what does that look like for a guy like Nuge or a guy like Hyman or Yamamoto, whoever, like, you know what I mean? Like, so, or Bukestad or Janmark. So I'll be interested in knowing it, but it, he was fine, but I think that, you're counting on him for some offense now. And on the power play was a good pickup, because I think what the Kings decided is when Connor's coming up that side, they were going to stuff it out right away and just say, okay, we're going to put bodies in that area and kind of have it die right there. But Nuge has got it. So how do you get him going? Well, I mean, he's scored 100 points. He knows how to score.
Yeah.
He knows how to do it. So I don't know about him getting going. It's not that he's not trying. And he had a couple, I think he hit the post once or twice, if I remember correctly, or 6 games. So he's there. But I think he'll find a way to get up there.
It's an interesting discussion, though, because they find success in this series by putting McDavid and Draisaitl together on a line with Evander Kane. They build this new look second line with Nick Bukestad all of a sudden elevated. This isn't stuff they did during the regular season. This isn't stuff they did against Vegas. So I guess the question is, how much gets reset? You're starting this series in a few days against Vegas. Is it going to be McDavid on one line, Draisaitl on another, Yamamoto back up on the right side, and you hit the reset to what worked for you through so much of the regular season? Or do you start essentially the same lines, maybe adding in Janmark for the next series? How much should carry from one series into the next? And that's going to be interesting to see how much he goes back to what worked before versus what won him this series, Struddy.
Yeah, I like that. But I think it's different because every team has their own strengths and weaknesses, right? Yeah. So I think looking at the group of Vegas, they've got pretty good D. Are the centers as strong, 200-foot game as what we've just seen from the Kings? And if you believe they are or aren't stronger, how does that affect how you spread out your centers, or do you put them all in one line? Like, it's, are you uncomfortable with McDavid versus Eichel, or are you very comfortable with that? Or are you, do you want to have, Draisaitl on his own line so he can take on another center? Like, it's not easy. I think you have to look at each team or each series as your own thing, and what we need to do, or what a group needs to do to make themselves, to give them the best chance to win. And
I think a big reason why McDavid and Draisaitl are together is because McDavid is banged up. Mm-hmm. And remember last year in this series when it was Draisaitl who was banged up, he put the two of them together. And so maybe a few days here for McDavid to heal will help. Zuby, what's next, my friend?
Couple of things on the goaltending front. Skinner, the first Oilers, one thing exchanges. Skinner, first Oilers goalie to win a series since Andy Moog in 80-81. And Andy Moog's my favorite goalie of all time, so I just wanted to shout that out. Randy Adele saying, does Skinner not have a Carey Price personality? Looked so calm after the broken stick. And I'm going to throw one more, and you guys kind of can take this whichever direction you want to go here. And Obelisk21 says, what about the goalie matchup? In this next game, we got 2 Bakersfield Condor alumni going head-to-head.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Laurent Brassois. How do you think that Skinner's personality translates here to playoff time, Struds? Because it would seem to me it does nothing but help him and his teammates just being as chill as he is.
Yeah, and I used to love that when my goalie was calm, and just because I'm like, if he's panicking, I better be panicking, right? Because now I got to block everything. He's just very calm. Even after the incident today with the broken stick, he's like, you could see he's like, oh, okay, whatever, goes against the stick. Both Campbell and Darren are talking to him, and he goes back and gets in there, and he didn't have to make a ton of saves, but got it done, right? How does he react? So I think Carey Price was very calm in that, and I think that Stu is similar. But that's who he is, right? And that's what he wants to have. Inside he's competitive, but he wants to show calm outside. I really like that. I really, he surprised me all the time. Every time there's a challenge, he grows, he improves. Even look at this series. He gets pulled for Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell has an amazing game to help the Oilers win that game, one that they needed, probably to win. And then they put him back in there. No problem. Yeah, I got this. Then tonight, broken stick. Okay, no problem. Like, I probably went a little bit bald over some of them, but still, it's growth and experience, and he can bounce that. I can say, I've been through this. I've already been through this, and he can grow from it.
Laurent Brassois, 5 games played in the first round, .915 save percentage, 2.42 goals against average. Listen, the Oilers scored a pile of goals against Vegas this year. Like, if you look at the 4 games they played, There were 32 goals scored in the series. The Oilers took 7 out of a possible 8 points from Vegas this year. Like, they definitely had the advantage in this matchup for the regular season, and it's going to be a tall task for Laurent Brossoit. But it's going to be great to see. It'll be a real interesting matchup. Zuby, one more, and then we're going to wrap this pig up.
Okay, coming from our friend Luch1717, viewing us in Sweden this morning, Sunday morning. I'm guessing Stone will be draped all over McDavid. And what do you guys think about that matchup?
Yeah, Mark Stone is he is a high quality, real good cornerstone player that I would take in a playoff series 10 days out of 10, man. That guy is a difference maker, Struds. So what do you make of that matchup? Because he wasn't available to them most of the year.
Yeah, he's a really talented player, and a winger, a little bit different, than a center. Respectfully, not the fastest skater out there. Very smart though, gets it done. So it's a little bit different than center on center. You don't often think or see someone who's like, oh, this winger is going to shut down this center, because you're not in the same parts of the ice. Like, think in the D zone, your D zone, if you're a left winger, you're kind of covering the right D. It's pretty rare for you to come down and lock horns with the centerman, right? And then, so this series, you saw a lot of Danault or Kopitar or whoever kind of locking horns with those guys below the tops of circles. You can see that with Stone.
Yeah,
not the same type. I don't think that it is he's smart. Like, don't get me wrong. He's going to help, but I don't see it as the same type of direct matchup that we saw with Danault and Kopitar.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. He had a good first round series, though. I think he had 8 points in the 5-game series that they just won. He had 3 goals and he had 5 assists. Barbashev, Eichel, Marchessault, Smith, Carlson, Amadio, Howden, Stevenson, Stone, Carrier, Waugh, Colasar are kind of what the Vegas lineup is. Martinez, Pietrangelo, Hutton, Theodore, Haig, and Whitecloud. I really like Zach Whitecloud. I think he's going to play some good minutes against some of the Oilers' better forwards. And then, of course, Brossoit and that should make for a fun matchup. All right, good stuff. Struds, Zuby, we can't let Struddy off the hook here. We have to get his take on what happened with the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, Struds. They pushed through, man. TSN 1040 overdrive. They want to know, what does Jason Strudwick have to say about the Leafs breaking through?
Well, to be fair, I called them winning the series. Like, I chose them before. It's on an email. I have documented proof. So you know what? I'm happy for the team. I really liked it was John Tavares that scored the game-winning goal, or was a big part of it. Whatever. And I'm happy for their fan base. Now it's crazy that we're not even sure who they're playing next. I can't believe that. As of midnight on Saturday night, we don't know that it's the Bruins versus the Leafs. And, could the Leafs get so lucky as to not have to play the Bruins, instead play Florida?
Yeah. Imagine.
I like that. If the Bruins lose, it changes everything.
Imagine if Boston and Colorado were out in the first round.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. I think it turns this whole playoff, because then who are the favorites?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, so anyway, so congratulations, Maple Leafs fans. I begrudgingly tip the hat to you guys.
Are you buying it, Zuby? I don't know.
No, not. I think he tips the hat to the team, not to the fans. I know it's against the fans. It's nothing against the team.
Do you think that Leaf fans hate Struds more than Oiler fans hate me? Like, where do you think the percentage is? What do you think that?
I don't know. That's too much for me to work out in my head right now. Do Leaf fans hate
I think that's time for you to roll the music.
I think with you, it's more of a roller coaster. It's up and down. And with Struds, it's even, and it's at the highest point of the graph, of the hate graph.
I actually think Leafs fans respect me, but they just want me to be wrong. And I think that's how it is.
I don't know that I've sensed a lot of respect from Leafs fans for you, Struds, in some of the comments that I've perused. And, when I'm feeling sad or if I'm feeling bullied, I'll often go online and look for interactions between you and Leaf fans to make myself feel better.
I love it. Well, let's see what happens. I just can't believe we don't know it's Bruins Leafs. I can't believe it.
Roll the music, Zuby. All right. Good stuff tonight. Struds, you did a good job pushing through. I can tell we're both kind of running on fumes here, but I think we pushed through, my man.
Did it. I loved it. It was worth it. Wrapped up a series. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back out on the road. Not sure what the Oilers have planned here, but could be a few days in California. That series against Vegas probably going to get going, I would assume, Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere in that range. So I'll be hopping on a plane and heading out to cover the team for a few days and looking forward to it. Zuby, thanks for your contributions tonight, my friend.
My pleasure. Good to be on with you guys.
All right, and thanks to everybody that joined us on the stream for your comments and your suggestions, all that great stuff. And a big thanks to our sponsors as well, Mid-City Construction Management, the Horses, Horse Racing Alberta, Weiss Johnson, and of course, Pro-Am Sports. Not sure what the pod schedule is. Probably take a couple of breathing days here to kind of regroup, and maybe we'll do a preview show the day before game one. But stay tuned to all of our socials. We'll let you know what we have planned. Tons more podcasting coming your way here on Got Your Back. Enjoy the rest of your night, folks. Off to round 2. Enjoy it. We'll talk soon. Cheers.